It's back, but can CD Projekt Red turn things around with Cyberpunk on PlayStation? We get a good look at the new hero costumes in Shazam, Fury of the Gods. And after some reflection, I give you my 5 favorite games from E3 2021. All that and the latest and everything cool today in the Rundown. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the Electric Playground. My name is Victor Lucas, and it is my absolute pleasure to be here for the Rundown, which is brought to you by our friends at the Gaming Stadium. They are Canada's leader in online esports tournament facilitation. They have tournaments happening every single weekend that you do not want to miss out on. You can find out all about them at tgs.gg. Today's episode of The Rundown is dedicated to Edible Fitness, who said, "Great interview, Vic. I would love to play as everybody, but I'll trust Patrick and Jean-Francois when they say we will end up not wanting it any other way." Excited for this to come out. He was talking about the Guardians of the Galaxy interview that I did with those two from Eidos Montreal. I, too, am very excited about that game. But you know what? One of 2020's most heavily hyped games is finally out of the PlayStation penalty box. The folks over at CD Projekt Red sent out a press release today announcing that Cyberpunk 2077 has returned to the PlayStation Store, and PlayStation 4 owners can download the game and play it to their heart's content. Although PlayStation was pretty quick to come back with a tweet and say Cyberpunk 2077 is now available at PlayStation Store. Work on the PS4 version continues with fixes and updates to be released throughout the year. And there's a link for more detail. For the best experience on PlayStation, playing on PS4 Pro or PS5 consoles is recommended, and CD Projekt Red is saying that everybody that purchases the PlayStation 4 version of Cyberpunk 2077 will get a free update to the PS5 version of the game, which they are still saying is going to be coming out in the back half of 2021. And the whole release around this game has just been unfortunate. It's been a massive cautionary tale for the video game industry. I gave up on playing it last year. I was playing it on the PlayStation 5 mostly, and I did have some quirks and bugs, and I just said, nah, to hell with it. I'm going to unplug this, and I'll plug it back in. And I said at the time that I was going to go back in and check it out when the PlayStation Store was offering it again. Now it has, so I suspect that I will download this, but I don't have any patience, man. I really don't. Not if this game is just still cluttered with bugs. I'm going to bail on it again. I do want CD Projekt Red's developers. I admire the talent over there and the ambition and the great games that they provided in the past, but I do want them to finish this, and I do want it to kind of meet the hype that we all had for this experience, but I'm very skeptical, as I think many of you are as well. And it's not to say that I didn't have some fun with the stuff that I played. I just ran into quirky issues that just drove me crazy. It's going to be very interesting to see Twitter and YouTube just tear this game apart, playing it on the PlayStation 4. The fact that they're releasing it again on the store, but even PlayStation is acknowledging that it's not optimal on the PlayStation 4. Oh, it's all so horrific. This is honestly one of the worst stories that has come out of the video game business in a long, long time. Holy crap, are they learning a tough lesson? And so is the rest of the video game industry, At least for the next, 3 to 5 years, we likely won't see games launching in states like Cyberpunk 2077 has already. But, hopefully they can still turn this thing around. I think that with every passing month, cranking the hype momentum to get people excited about this game becomes more and more difficult. But you know what? Let me know what you think. I know a lot of you have loved your time with Cyberpunk 2077. Have some of you dropped out and now are excited to go back in and check it out again? Or are you done with it? Let me know in the comments below. All right, switching over to movies now. We got some pretty cool news about the next Shazam movie from the director himself. Shazam! Fury of the Gods director David F. Sandberg took to Twitter to let everybody in on the little secret of the costumes that are going to be a part of the movie. And of course, we saw the Shazam team assemble at the end of the first Shazam film, which really holds up, by the way. That is, not a perfect superhero film, but there's a lot of fun work in there, and I really like the cast. So it's cool to see them all in their Shazam get-ups in this really cool shot. I mean, everybody looks buff as hell. clearly people are going to the gym and working out and getting those superhero bods, but the costumes look great as well. It's like a rainbow assortment of different Shazam takes. I like the gray one. It's kind of muted and kind of like a cool alternate universe version of the bright red Shazam costume. I like that Mary Marvel's costume has got kind of a Wonder Woman aesthetic to it, which kind of ties to the DCEU's cross between magic and otherworldly alien powers and things like that. Mary Marvel looks really cool. And I like that Grace Fulton, who actually played Mary in the previous Shazam, has grown up enough that she is actually playing Mary Marvel in this movie. Clearly, that's what happens. The kids grow up and then they sort of become these superheroes over time. So if we see Shazam continue on in future iterations, we'll see these actors age up and hitting the gym, and they'll likely be putting on the superhero costumes, so the faces won't change to an adult version of them. I like the super leaning into the comic books kind of vibe of these outfits, all told. I think that there was no other way to play this, right? It's kind of like Big as a superhero film. And it's incredibly endearing. Those comics worked. I've always been a fan of Shazam. I just think the characters and the mythology and all of the storytelling around Shazam is pretty cool. Ripe for some great stories. And I love that now there's like a family of these superheroes out there. So good on David F. Sandberg from getting ahead of the leakers and putting this image out there. I can't wait for Fury of the Gods. I think this whole enterprise wouldn't have worked if Zachary Levi wasn't so expertly cast in the role of Shazam, but he really was. He's terrific, and I hope that the new movie's even better than the first one. All right, something else that I had a really good time with. I thought it was time for me to pick my 5 favorite games from E3 2021 and I guess the Summer Game Fest as well. I had such a good time talking about all the new game announcements with Jose Sanchez, and then Marissa Roberto joined us as well. It was a really fun week. It was weird. I felt like I was streaming all the time. That's why I kind of had to take a little bit of a break from getting in front of the camera like this and cut some interviews together. But it was really cool. There were some good games on display. I'm going to talk about the 5 games that I'm most hyped for out of the stuff that we got to see last week. And number 5 is Guardians of the Galaxy from Eidos Montreal and Square Enix. I know that there's a lot of people out there that are skeptical, a lot of burnt out people on Marvel's Avengers that Crystal Dynamics developed with Square Enix and Eidos Montreal contributing. And I understand that exhaustion with the Avengers. I really enjoyed actually the single-player component of the Avengers, but then it got a little repetitive for sure. But I feel like Eidos Montreal has a much stronger hold on what they want to achieve with Guardians of the Galaxy. Tying the whole story around Peter Quill as Star-Lord leading his team, I think was the right decision, because you're going to feel like the leader of this team. And I think the team is not always going to do what you ask them to do. And I think that is the secret sauce in the Guardians of the Galaxy. They're a bunch of rebels that shouldn't be a team, and yet they're an awesome team. And they're just a bunch of fun characters. And I think that Eidos Montreal is such a strong developer with a really good history. But this is unique stuff for them to play with. And I think, Marvel chose this studio wisely. And I'm excited, man. I'm excited about seeing some of the strengths that they acquired through the Deus Ex period and the Lara Croft period applied to Guardians of the Galaxy. And the visuals that I saw so far were impressive to me. And the gameplay elements that I saw so far also look like my jam, man. I want to jump into Guardians of the Galaxy in a big way. Number 4 for me is a game that I am a little scared of playing because I think I'm going to suck at it. But it's Elden Ring from Software and George R.R. Martin. And it just looks staggering. It just looks beautiful. It looks like a maturation on a lot of concepts and ideas that From has been playing with across the assortment of titles that they've been working on for years. Paired and fused with the really well-crafted and thoughtful narrative design that George R.R. Martin is kind of recognized for and world-renowned for. I don't know what to expect from the story. I don't know how much of the story, honestly, I'm going to be able to get to if this game is as hard as some of the other From games that I've been playing. But I am eager to dive in. I'm eager to let the game wash over me and to see all of these weird characters and get into all of these creepy battles with these bosses. And that trailer was something else, man. What a beautiful piece of work, right? Like if this was in any other medium, if this was a trailer for a television show on HBO or a movie that was headed our way, we would all be excited about that. But good for us as gamers, we get to play this thing. Number 3 for me, and this is weird because The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is my favorite game, but Breath of the Wild 2, because I already knew it was coming and I knew that Nintendo was going to tease us with some more, that's number 3 for me. I wasn't shocked to see it, but I'm very happy to see it, and it's looking beautiful. It looks like there's going to be some nice deviations in the play style and maybe some of the characters that we're going to be able to play as. Looks like that we're also going to be looking to the heavens as part of the experience here, which is fitting because Skyward Sword is being, re-celebrated very soon on the Nintendo Switch, so maybe there's going to be some crossover or some tie with Skyward Sword. But I can't wait for The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2, and I suspect that it will be tied to some kind of revision on the Nintendo Switch. I think that there will be an enhanced version of the game when it comes out, and that might be why we haven't seen anything on this new Switch yet, because they want to show it off with this game. Even if it is running on existing Switch hardware, I am all about it. I cannot wait for The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2. It looks amazing. Something else that looks amazing on Nintendo Switch is Metroid Dread, and this is just an incredible looking 2D Metroid experience made by Mercury Steam, which I'm very happy about because they did a great job with Samus Returns on the 3DS, and they're just a really solid experienced team with 2D design and, retraversal and giving you all kinds of great rewards for going back into areas and trying to solve the puzzles of the environment from a bunch of different perspectives. They know Metroid. They understand it. Nintendo has been sort of sitting on this property and this vision for this game for a long time, but I think they've been hearing the calls from gamers all over the world that it's time, Nintendo. Not only is it time for Metroid Dread, which I think is going to elevate some of the 2D designs in some interesting ways, but it's also time to go back into your catalog, Nintendo. Nintendo, I'm looking at you, and republish all of the 2D games in one big cool collection with all kinds of behind-the-scenes stuff. So hopefully there's going to be even more of that, and of course I can't wait to see Metroid Prime 4 in action, but Metroid Dread looks absolutely staggering. Can't wait for that game. But number 1 for me in all of the games that I got to take a look at, all of the great indie stuff, and there are lots of great little surprises all over the place, but the game that has me the most excited is Starfield from Bethesda. I know that there's some skepticism around Bethesda because they recently have overpromised and underdelivered, but this is an incredibly exciting period for this company. They've clearly got some beautiful technology at play here for the Starfield engine, and they have so much experience in crafting really ambitious open world titles with lots of great widgets for us to interact with, but now everything is going to approximate, photorealism. And I love space exploration games. I still get hooked on No Man's Sky every time I jump into that. So to think of, this opportunity to blast off into space and explore strange new worlds under the guidance and context of what Bethesda is capable of, and to see them so energized to develop something brand new in this space, no pun intended, because they're still fired up about the Fallout work that they get to do and all of the Elder Scrolls work that they get to do, of course. But this is really fantastic that they're getting a chance to kind of, spread their creative ambitions into a whole bunch of new directions. So very excited about Starfield. I know we've got tons more to see. This teaser isn't really a robust example of what the gameplay is going to be, but I trust this team, this studio. I know that they're recognizing that they've got some catching up to do in terms of winning people back, and I think they're just about to do that. I think they're going to blow us away with Starfield. That's why it's number 1 on my list. All right, I've got a couple of quick things that I want to tell you about, and they're both robot related. First up is a game called RoboQuest, which is being made by a studio out of Lyon, France called Rise Up, and it's going to be hitting Game Pass on day 1. It's a fast-paced first-person shooter fused with some roguelite elements, and it looks like a cross between Borderlands and Overwatch. It's got that cool cel-shaded look to it, but it looks like a lot of fun. I like these robot creations. I like the environment. It's obviously not taking itself too too seriously. And it speaks to the inevitable future where we're going to be watching TV shows like BattleBots, but they're not going to have rotating saw blades. They're going to have machine guns and be blasting the hell out of each other. I can't wait to play this game. I think we've got a little ways to wait, but it is super cool that it's day one on Game Pass. And the other robot game I wanted to talk about is Super Magbot from Astral Pixel and Team 17. You don't have a jump button in this game, but you have to navigate all of these Super Meat Boy-like puzzles in the environment. There's blades out to get you and spiky things and all kinds of enemies that are coming your way. But you've got the power of magnets. It's got a great pixel art style to it, and it's hitting the Switch and Steam on June 22nd, so check your watches. You might be able to download this right now, and there is a demo for this as well. I can't wait to play Super Magbot. Robots make me happy, what can I say? And you guys make me happy. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I'll be back again tomorrow with a fresh rundown. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for becoming an EPN member. We'll see you soon. And until then, play forever.